The joke escaped my mouth the way sparks jump from a wire, sudden, careless, and bright enough to burn. It was my birthday, the office lights were too white, the cake too small, the applause too polite, and my heart too tired to keep pretending that life was moving somewhere meaningful. I had learned to smile through deadlines and swallow dreams, learned to be invisible in a room full of voices. And then, with a laugh that was half bravery and half surrender, I said the words that changed everything, words meant to dissolve into air. Instead, they landed and stayed. Her smile didn't flicker or fade. It deepened, like a door opening to a hallway I didn't know existed, and in that moment the world leaned forward to listen. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in moments that arrive unannounced and alter the course of ordinary lives, pause right now. Like the video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles so these stories keep finding the hearts that need them. I had never planned to be brave at work. I planned to be reliable, quiet, and useful. The kind of employee who arrives early, leaves late, and never becomes a problem. My boss was the opposite of chaos. She was precision and calm, a person who spoke with intention and listened with care. People mistook her calm for distance, but I had noticed the small mercies she practiced, the way she remembered names, the way she covered for mistakes without making a spectacle, the way she stayed late not to watch but to help. I admired her from a respectful distance, a constellation you don't reach for because you're not supposed to. My joke was a shield, a balloon let go on a windy day, meant to drift away. It didn't. It hovered, glowing. The rest of the day unfolded as if the air had thickened. Emails arrived slower. Coffee tasted sharper. Every task felt like a rehearsal for something unnamed. I tried to convince myself that I had misread the moment, that smiles could be polite and invitations imaginary. But the idea followed me like a melody I couldn't unhear. I thought about my life as it was, small apartment, chipped mug, a future postponed by caution. I thought about the years I had spent waiting for permission to want more. And somewhere between the bus ride home and the evening call to my mother, who wished me a long life and steady work, I realized the joke had cracked something open in me that had been sealed for years. The challenge wasn't courage alone, it was dignity. I didn't want to cross lines or invent meanings where none existed. I wanted to be honorable even if it meant disappointment. The struggle lived in my chest like a tide, pulling me toward hope and then dragging me back to reason. I walked past a jewelry store without entering, then turned back, then kept walking. I stood on a bridge and watched the river carry reflections of streetlights like scattered coins, thinking about the cost of believing. I thought about the version of myself who never takes risks and the version who does and lives with the consequences. The night was asking a question. I was learning how to answer. Change arrived quietly, as it often does, through memory. I remembered the first time someone had believed in me without conditions, a teacher who had said my work mattered before it paid. I remembered the jobs that taught me humility, the days I failed and returned anyway. I remembered that kindness is not loud, and that love often begins as respect. By the time I reached the jewelry counter, my hands were steady. I chose a simple ring, honest and unpretentious, the kind that doesn't promise a fantasy but invites a future. It wasn't about wealth or display. It was about intention. The evening didn't feel like a gamble so much as a crossing. Her place was warm and lived in, filled with books and plants that leaned toward the light, evidence of patience. The city outside hummed like a witness. We spoke the way people do. When truth is near, carefully, openly, with room for silence. The power dynamics that had made me cautious were acknowledged, named, and set aside with care. There was no rush, no spectacle, just the steady unfolding of two lives comparing notes. I learned about her losses and her quiet joys, about the price she paid to be strong and the tenderness she guarded like an heirloom. She learned about my doubts, my stubborn hope, the way I measure days by small wins. The hardest challenge wasn't the difference in our titles, it was the fear of being seen fully. I had hidden behind competence for so long that vulnerability felt like stepping onto ice. But something in her presence invited honesty without demand. When I offered the ring, it was not a command or a claim, it was an offering. The night did not end with fireworks. It ended with understanding, which is rarer and lasts longer. After that, life didn't turn into a montage. It turned into work. Real work, done together. We chose transparency over secrecy, patience over impulse. We involved the right people, respected boundaries, and built trust brick by brick. There were days when gossip tested us and nights when doubt tried to undo what we were making. There were moments when I wondered if I had mistaken kindness for something else, and moments when she worried that leadership required solitude. Each time, we returned to the same place. A conversation, a walk, a shared meal, the agreement that love should add to life, not shrink it. Time did what time does when given care. It smoothed the sharp edges. It replaced fear with familiarity and turned admiration into partnership. I grew into confidence that didn't need permission. She grew into joy that didn't require armor. We learned that a good life is not built by grand gestures alone but by 1,000 small choices to be gentle when it's easier to be guarded. The office changed, too, not because of us, but because kindness has a way of spreading when it's practiced openly. People felt safer to try, to fail, to try again. On a quiet anniversary of that birthday, we returned to the bridge over the river. The lights were the same, the water still carrying reflections like promises. I understood then that the joke had never been a joke at all. It had been a question asked by a tired heart, answered by a smile brave enough to tell the truth. Some nights change your address. Others change your direction. That night had done both. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that courage can wear a soft voice and kindness can rewrite a future, please take a moment now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles. Your engagement helps these stories reach the people who need them most.